Have you ever felt that sinking feeling in your stomach when you think about what's coming next? The future. It's so easy to get lost in the what ifs, right? What if things don't go the way I plan? What if I'm not good enough? What if everything falls apart? Ah, that overwhelming sense of fear. It's familiar. And here's the thing, it doesn't just stay in our minds. It takes root in our bodies too. You know the sensation. Tight shoulders, clenched fists, racing heart. It's like the weight of the future is pressing down on us, almost suffocating. But here's the twist. Most of what we fear hasn't even happened yet. It's all in our heads. Let's pause for a moment and consider this. The future isn't set in stone. It's like an open road. Sometimes it's foggy, unclear. We can't always see what's ahead, and that can feel terrifying. But what if we stopped seeing the unknown as something that holds us back and started viewing it as a place of opportunity? That's right. The future, despite all the uncertainty, is not something to fear. It's something to explore. Because the more we worry about what could happen, the more we lock ourselves in place, unable to move forward. Today we're going to break that cycle. We'll take a look at how fear of the future keeps us stuck, and how we can begin to take those first steps, even when the path ahead is unclear. Because here's the truth. It's not the future that's the problem. It's our fear of it. And once we learn to navigate that, everything changes. Ever find yourself stuck in a loop, your mind racing with every possible outcome, every potential disaster? It's like a merry-go-round that never stops. Round and round, faster and faster. What if I mess up? What if everyone notices? What if? It's exhausting, isn't it? And it doesn't end. Your mind keeps spinning, and with every loop, you become more and more paralyzed, unable to take a single step forward. But here's something to think about. Overthinking is fear disguised as caution. It feels like you're being careful, weighing all your options, making sure you don't miss anything important. But really, all you're doing is getting caught in an endless spiral that prevents action. The funny thing is, most of the time, none of those what-ifs ever come true. They're just stories your mind tells you to keep you in place. When you can finally let go of those stories, you'll find that the real step forward wasn't as hard as you thought. But here's the trick. It's not about stopping the thoughts. It's about learning how to notice them. And choosing to move forward anyway. Recognize that fear is just noise, not reality. When you let go of the need to have everything figured out, you create space for the unexpected. Those moments of flow, when things just start to make sense, and you feel lighter, more aligned with where you're meant to be. That's the beauty of action over perfection. Next time your mind starts spiraling, take a breath, pause, and choose to take just one small step forward. Because that's where freedom lives, in the small, imperfect actions that move you toward what's next. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, it has to be perfect, or it's not worth doing at all? This belief can be paralyzing. You set such high expectations for yourself, fearing that if you don't get it right, you'll fail, or worse, be judged. And so you freeze. The irony is, perfection is often a disguise for fear. It's the way our mind tries to protect us from making mistakes, from being vulnerable. But what if I told you that imperfection is the key to growth? Think about it for a moment. Every mistake, every failure is simply an opportunity to learn. When you look at it this way, imperfection becomes a stepping stone, not a roadblock. It's part of the process, part of the journey forward. But we hold on to fear. We hold on to this idea that we need everything to be flawless to avoid rejection, to prove our worth. But guess what? The world doesn't need you to be perfect. It just needs you to be real, to show up, and to keep moving forward, even when things aren't perfect. Boom. Every time you allow yourself to be imperfect, you give yourself permission to grow. You give yourself the freedom to make mistakes and learn from them. Perfectionism keeps you stuck, afraid of the next step. But imperfection is what sets you free. So let go of the need for everything to be perfect. The future isn't about flawless execution, it's about authentic progress. And when you give yourself permission to fail, to stumble, and to grow, that's when the real journey begins. You've probably heard the saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Sounds simple, right? But sometimes that first step can feel like the hardest thing in the world. We get overwhelmed by the sheer size of the challenge ahead. We think, how can I possibly make a difference? What if it's not enough? But here's the secret. It's not about the size of the step, it's about taking it. It's easy to get caught up in the big picture and think it's too much to handle. But the truth is, small steps are the ones that create lasting change. They build momentum, they break down fear, and they lead to progress. Think about it. Every great accomplishment didn't happen all at once. It happened little by little. Each small action, each small choice was a step toward the bigger picture. And those small steps compound over time. The key is starting, taking that one imperfect step, no matter how small. Imagine standing at the base of a mountain. It looks tall, overwhelming, and impossible. But when you break it down into small steps, it's not so scary anymore. You don't need to see the entire journey right away. You just need to take the first step, and then the next. The fear of the future often holds us back because we think we need to have everything figured out. We think we need to know exactly how things will unfold. But here's the truth. No one knows. The journey is uncertain. The key is to keep moving forward one step at a time. So ask yourself, what's one small step I can take today? Maybe it's something simple. Maybe it's reaching out to someone. Maybe it's writing down your goals. Whatever it is, take that step because that's how you create momentum. That's how you start to shift the fear into something powerful, something that propels you forward. Uncertainty, it's one of the biggest sources of fear when it comes to the future. It's that feeling of not knowing what's next, that sense of being out of control. And the truth is, we want certainty. We crave it. We want to know that everything is going to be okay, that we're making the right choices, that we're on the right path. But here's the kicker. Certainty is an illusion. We never truly know what's going to happen. No matter how much we plan, life always has a way of surprising us. And that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It's part of the adventure. The beauty of uncertainty is that it leaves space for possibility. When we let go of the need to control everything, we open ourselves up to new opportunities. It's like standing at the edge of a cliff, not knowing exactly what lies ahead, but trusting that the jump will lead somewhere worthwhile. What if we stopped fearing uncertainty and started embracing it? What if we saw it as the fertile ground for creativity, growth, and innovation? Because that's exactly what it is. Uncertainty allows us to evolve, to try new things, to fail, and to learn. It's natural to feel uncomfortable when we don't have all the answers, but remember, comfort is where growth goes to die. If we always stayed in the safe, predictable zone, we'd never get to experience the rewards that come with stepping into the unknown. So the next time you face uncertainty, instead of clinging to fear, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what's the opportunity here? What can I learn from this moment? Because in those uncertain moments, the magic happens. And once you embrace that, fear starts to lose its power. The future is uncertain, yes, but it's also filled with infinite possibilities. Let go of the need to control every outcome and allow yourself to flow with the unpredictability. That's when the real adventure begins. Control. It's something we all want, right? We think that if we can control everything, we'll feel safe. We can predict the future, avoid mistakes, and ensure things go our way. But here's the truth. Control is an illusion. It's a tight grip we hold on to out of fear, not out of power. The more we try to control every outcome, the more we close ourselves off from the unexpected, from the opportunities that arise when we step out of our comfort zone. And here's the kicker. When we focus too much on controlling the future, we miss the beauty of the present moment. Think about a time when you tried to control something that didn't go as planned. Maybe it was a project, a conversation, or a decision you were so sure about. The more you tried to make it fit your vision, the more it slipped away. The more you grasped, the more you lost. That's the paradox of control. The tighter we hold, the more things slip through our fingers. But when we let go, when we release our need to control, we create space for freedom, growth, and possibility. The key to breaking free from fear is learning to trust, not in your ability to control, but in your ability to adapt. Life is constantly shifting, and the more we cling to control, the more we miss out on the natural flow that can carry us to places we never imagined. So ask yourself, what would happen if I stopped trying to control every single thing and just allowed life to unfold? What if I trusted that I could handle whatever comes next? Because here's the thing, you can. You're stronger than you think. When you embrace uncertainty, when you let go of control, you open yourself to the possibility of real change. The future may not be something you can control, but it's something you can shape, something you can walk into with confidence. Let go of the need to control, and you'll find that the future isn't something to fear. It's something to embrace. Building resilience. It's a word we often hear, but what does it really mean? Resilience is not just about bouncing back from adversity. It's about having the strength to face the unknown, the courage to keep moving forward, even when the future feels uncertain. Think of resilience as a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. When you push through challenges, even the small ones, you build the mental and emotional strength needed to face bigger obstacles. And you know what? Each time you overcome fear, whether it's a fear of failure, rejection, or even just the fear of the unknown, you become more resilient. Now, resilience doesn't mean that you never feel fear. It doesn't mean that everything comes easily. No, it's about being able to feel the fear and move forward anyway. It's about facing uncertainty head-on and saying, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I'm ready to find out. And here's the thing, resilience grows through experience. The more you step into discomfort, the more you face the unknown, the more resilient you become. It's like a muscle. The more you work it, the stronger it gets. Every time you move forward, even when you're scared, you're building a foundation of strength that will carry you through future challenges. So, don't be afraid of the challenges you'll face. Don't be afraid of the moments when you feel unsure or anxious. These are the moments where your resilience is being built, where your strength is growing. When you look back, you'll see that every step you took, every fear you faced, added to your resilience. And soon you'll realize that fear no longer has the power to hold you back. You'll know that no matter what comes your way, you have the strength to handle it. So the next time fear tries to keep you stuck, remember, you're stronger than you think. Your resilience is building, step by step, and with every challenge you face, you are becoming the person who can handle whatever the future brings. Sometimes, the hardest part of moving forward is simply shifting your mindset. Our minds are powerful, aren't they? They can either be our greatest allies or our fiercest enemies. And too often, when faced with fear, we let our minds take the lead in the wrong direction, towards doubt, worry, and hesitation. But what if we could change the narrative? What if we could train our minds to shift from fear to possibility, from uncertainty to opportunity? It's not easy, but it's possible. And it starts with recognizing that the way we view the future shapes our experience of it. Instead of seeing the future as a threat, full of dangers waiting to strike, we can choose to see it as a blank canvas, ready to be filled with new experiences, growth, and lessons. What if we saw fear not as a barrier, but as a signal that we are on the edge of something new, something challenging, something worth pursuing? Here's a thought. Every time you feel fear rising, ask yourself, what's the opportunity here? In that moment, you're training your brain to focus on the potential, not the problem. You're reprogramming your thoughts from, what if I fail, to, what if I succeed? This simple shift in perspective can transform the way you approach challenges. It can turn fear from an obstacle into a motivator. And once you start looking at the future through the lens of possibility, fear loses its grip. The unknown becomes exciting, not terrifying. The future becomes something to look forward to, rather than something to avoid. So the next time you're facing fear, try this. Pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, how can I reframe this situation? Shift your mindset from fear to opportunity, and watch how your world starts to change. Because the future isn't just something that happens to you, it's something you create, one thought at a time. Trusting yourself. One of the biggest fears we face is the fear of not being enough, of not having what it takes to succeed. We often look at others and think they have it all figured out, while we're left questioning ourselves, wondering if we're capable, wondering if we can make it. But here's the thing. You've already got what it takes. The fact that you're here, listening to this, is proof of your ability to grow, to learn, and to move forward. You've made it through every challenge you've ever faced, and you've come out stronger each time. And yet we still doubt ourselves, don't we? We fear that the next step might be the one where we fall short. But what if we trusted ourselves more? What if we believed that, no matter what, we have the strength to face whatever comes our way? The truth is, fear keeps us from trusting in our own power. It makes us second-guess every decision, every action. But trusting yourself means acknowledging your strengths, your resilience, and your ability to adapt. Think back to a time when you faced something difficult, something that seemed impossible at the time. Do you remember how you found a way through it? You might not have known exactly how you'd make it, but somehow you did. And that's because you trusted yourself, even if it was just a little bit. Now imagine if you trusted yourself every single day. What if you approached every challenge with the belief that you can handle it, that you have everything you need to figure it out? How much lighter would you feel, knowing that you're not alone in facing the future? You have your own strength to lean on. The future isn't something to fear. It's a place where you can grow, take risks, and trust in your own abilities. So the next time doubt creeps in, take a deep breath and remind yourself, I trust myself. Because when you trust yourself, the fear of the unknown loses its power. You realize that, no matter what comes your way, you are capable of handling it. Now we've talked about fear, uncertainty, and trusting yourself. But there's one thing left to do. Take the first step. It sounds simple, doesn't it? Just take the first step and everything will fall into place. But in reality, it's the hardest thing to do. Because fear has a way of convincing us that we need to have everything figured out before we move forward. But the truth is, you don't need to know exactly what's ahead. You just need to trust that the first step is enough. Think of it like standing at the edge of a diving board. You're looking down at the water, and the fear starts to rise. You hesitate, wondering, what if I don't land right? What if I get hurt? But here's the thing. You don't have to know what happens after you jump. You just have to take the leap. And once you do, everything becomes clearer. The first step might feel small, but it's powerful. It's the moment when you decide that fear will no longer control you. It's the moment when you commit to moving forward, even if the path ahead is uncertain. Because the future is waiting for you to step into it. And once you take that first step, you'll find that the second one becomes easier than the third. It's like a domino effect, where one small action leads to another. Before you know it, you're moving, growing, and embracing the future, one step at a time. So I challenge you today, take that first step. Whether it's something small, something that scares you, or just something that feels uncertain, make that move. The future is waiting, and it's not something to fear, it's something to step into with open arms. Because once you start moving, you'll realize that the future isn't something that happens to you, it's something you create, and you have everything you need to shape it. So what's your first step? Let's take it together.